Hola, muy buenas a todos, soy Alberto, ¿qué tal estáis? Está un nuevo vídeo de Juego de Tronos y bueno, vamos a continuar donde lo dejamos.
Finally, we come to River Spring. 15 years ago, it was one of the region's most flourishing towns. But things slowly worsened, and today River Spring knows only idle craftsmen and discontent among the peasants. And the death of Lord Reynold Sarwyck will not improve matters. That said, his death didn't surprise many people. The poor man was but a shadow of his former self since the disappearance of his eldest son. They say that his daughter is the one who makes decisions since then, and you can see where that has led.
River Spring. It is much changed.
Have you been here before?
I used to live in River Spring. I left 15 years ago.
Yes, that was a while ago. Back then, the town was still prosperous.
What happened?
I don't know the details, but I think it had something to do with the eldest Sarwyck boy leaving.
I must go to the castle.
Oh? And, if I may ask, what would a red priest like you be doing here?
I am here for the burial ceremony. I am the son of Reynold Sarwyck.
How so? You're much too old to be Gawain Sarwyck.
Gawain is my young brother. I am the elder, Alester.
Father above? After so long? We thought you had disappeared. My sympathies for your father. I did not recognize you.
My god R'hllor now watches over him. Thank you for the crossing, ferryman.
Bien, pues como veis ahora vamos a jugar con Alester. Y bueno, ahí tenéis la historia de Alester. Y vamos a hacer, como veis, el estilo de lucha de Alester puede ser de danzarín del agua, mercenario o arquero. Yo, sinceramente, yo recomendaría o arquero o danzarín del agua. ¿Por qué? Porque mercenario, bueno, no está mal, pero tampoco es que sea fuerte en poderosos estilos. Pero bueno, yo me la voy a jugar y me voy a coger a mercenario porque quiero un poco de fuerza. Así que lo necesario es, pues, fuerza, resistencia y un poco de inteligencia. Y aquí los 3 puntos, pues lo mismo, uno en cada extremo. Espadas. Ahora mismo vamos a empezar con una daga. Y bueno, bien. Como veis empezamos con una daga si somos mercenario, que no es una cosa que me guste mucho las dagas. Pero bueno.
With things as they are, what choice do we have?
If things are so bad, what do you propose to do?
It's been too hard for too long. It's time to revolt. We must take matters into our own hands. We'll take up arms.
If you follow that path, the army will have no choice but to fight against you. Do you want this to end in blood and tears?
You don't know what you're talking about, stranger. The house is dying. The army of River Spring is but a shadow of what it was. You obviously know nothing of the misery we suffer here.
That may be, but I do know that violence is answered with more violence. This path never ends well.
We're already suffering. What is it to us if we die of hunger or by a sword?
What has happened here? These lands were once thriving.
It's the Lords. It's been too long since they cared about what happens in their own lands. Neighboring lords have taken the chance to grab some of our land, and nothing is done to stop it. And now that Lord Sarwyck is dead, it will only get worse. We must do something.
But there are still Sarwicks in River Spring.
Don't make me laugh. The eldest fled years ago. As for the others, they're no better than he. Anyway, this concerns only the people of River Spring, stranger.
So be it. I pray that your choices will not lead you to reckless acts. May Relor light your path through the shadows.
And what is a river town without
Bueno,
merchant ships?
como vemos, la muerte de nuestro padre ha hecho que, bueno, la gente se rebele.
Forgive my boldness, noble stranger, but I cannot let you walk into certain death like that.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not sure of the customs in the free cities nowadays, but I wouldn't dream of entering Westerer's arm like that. And yet, as the smith labours day and night for us, it so happens that I sell the finest weapons. Blunt, cutting, perforating, you know what they say, my lord. Don't buy your blade until you know what you plan to stick it into.
I have things to do.
Don't hesitate to come back and see me in the Merchant Square. I weep to see you so ill-equipped in this town. And don't forget you'll be wanting armor. After all, no matter the weapon you face, simple clothes will not protect you.
Very nice robe you've got there. My lord, a grove for some food?
Nah, couldn't be. We haven't seen him in 15 years.
One too many horns of ale today?
Halt, priest. This town is in mourning. Access to the castle is closed during the ceremony.
I'm actually here to attend Lord Sarwyck's burial.
I'm afraid that's not possible. I'm under strict orders to only allow entry to close kin. With the villagers' current grumblings, we don't want to risk problems.
I am Lord Reynold Sarwyck's eldest son, and I am here to attend my father's funeral.
His eldest son? Do you take me for a fool? I have been at my post for more than 5 years, and I have never once seen your face.
It has been more than 5 years since I left River Spring. Please call on Mr. Harwin. He knows of my arrival.
Well, we'll see about that, but I doubt he'll come here for you. The ceremony's about to start. John, go find Maester Harwin.
What is going on here? Why has John gone for the Maester?
Ryman, it's me, Alester.
Several hells. Alester? Graydon, I told you only family. That excludes peasants, dogs, and cravens who abandon their families.
You blame me for leaving, but this is not the time for anger. I've come to bury my father, Ryman, not to fight with you. In honor of the past, allow me to go and pay him my respects.
Very well. You may go. Out of respect for your father.
Alester, I knew you would come.
Maester Harwin, it's a pleasure to see you again.
The pleasure is shared. 7 gods, you have changed so much. 15 years. I had help from my contacts in Bravos to inform you of your father's death. The funeral will be in the God's Wood. The ceremony has already begun.
Why is it not held at the Sept?
It would be if it were not in ruins. River Spring is suffering on all fronts, I fear. Let us go now. Come with me, Alester. Let us speak as we walk.
What happened here, Maester? How could my father allow things to get to this point?
You know, after you left, Lord Reynold changed. He began to live more and more in the past, and stopped taking care of his duties. Your sister quickly found herself managing more than she should have.
Eliana helped my father govern?
Well, these last few months, she's practically run the house herself. In spite of her efforts, she was unable to slow the inevitable ruin of her lands without a lord. But all is not so dark. Many of your father's vassals remain faithful to their oath. They have all come to the burial in order to honor his memory. We will speak of all this again after the ceremony. Let us make haste, I beg of you.
Hello, Red Priest. I am Lady Eliana Sarwyck, daughter of the late Lord Sarwyck. You are just in time for the ceremony. Were you close to my father?
You have changed much in 15 years, little sister.
Alester, why have you returned? We don't need you here.
Harwin told me of father's death. It was my duty to come.
15 years without any news, and he had to die for us to see you again. You would have done better to stay where you were.
I do not doubt that my departure was difficult for you.
Difficult? To say the least. Your disappearance was our father's ruin. Do you know how long I cried after you left? And how long I hoped for news of you?
I am sorry. I left Westeros without once turning back, it's true. I understand your reaction. It must have been unbearable for you, but I had to leave. Know that I never forgot you.
That's easy for you to say. And you should know that we here learn to live very well without you.
I understand your reaction, Eliana.
I doubt it. Go pay your last respects to father. We will speak later.
May the stranger, the eternal outcast, now guide you to the Father. And may he...
Who is that man?
I believe that is the elder Sarwyck, the one who disappeared. He has certainly changed, but I recognize him.
How could you desecrate our father's body that way?
I desecrated nothing. I performed the final kiss, the tribute that priests of R'hllor pay to the dead.
You may be a Red Priest, but you should respect the beliefs of Riverspring.
I did not intend to be disrespectful, little sister.
Do not think that it is easy for me to speak with you after all this time.
Please, Eliana, listen. I left Westeros without a goodbye, and you have every reason to be angry with me. 15 years ago, the war that King Robert Baratheon fought to claim the throne forced me to commit deeds which haunt me still. The very idea of returning to you was too painful. I did the only thing left for me to do. I left and began a new life elsewhere. Not long ago, I received a letter from Maester Harwin telling of Father's death. I could no longer hide myself. It was time to confront my past. What I regret the most, Eliana, is that by fleeing to the other side of the waters, it is you whom I wounded.
All these years, I have thrown a veil over your memory. And you return at the moment when everything is in turmoil. I must be alone for the moment. I will see you later, Alester.
Take your time, little sister. I understand.
Alester, Maester Harwin would like to speak with you. He awaits you in the castle courtyard. And if I may add, you should be ashamed of that kiss during the ceremony.
My thanks, Ravella. I shall go and see him.
Bien, vamos allá.
Ah, Alester, there you are. Please leave us. So, you're not too unsettled by the situation here?
What I saw of the town upon my arrival was enough. It is a disaster. The people cannot go on like this. I have heard tell that neighboring lords have taken our people's lands.
Indeed. The poverty has worsened over the years. When neighboring lords became aware of your father's situation, they took advantage of the opportunity.
But they have no right to do so. Our lieges, the Lannisters, should have been notified.
Indeed, but our relations with them have suffered since your father held Tywin Lannister responsible for your departure. It was after his death that your sister decided to reopen talks by going to see the most influential member of their family. That is why she requested an audience with Queen Cersei Lannister at the Red Keep. It was made very clear our lieges will act once our land has a new master. So your sister worked towards this end. Riverspring has belonged to House Sarwyck for generations. Ilyana has refused to marry a lord from any other house. So, the Queen has chosen a man for your sister.
Who is it?
Valar, your father's bastard son, your half-brother.
Valar? I left Westeros hoping never to hear that name again. It is out of the question for my sister to marry him. He shares our blood. How can the Queen condone a marriage which goes against nature?
You realize that if Ilyana were to wed another lord, she would take her husband's name. Being a bastard, Valar has no family name. It was the only solution to keep Riverspring for House Sarwyck.
What has changed? He was but a simple squire when he went off to war with me. Only a knight may marry a lady.
Valar rose through the ranks and was knighted. The Queen took him into her service.
But Valar served House Sarwyck. How did he get close to the Queen?
Seeing him return alone from the war, your father blamed him for your disappearance. No matter how much Valar claimed to work for the prosperity of House Sarwyck, your father wouldn't hear any of it. He cursed him and chased him away from Riverspring for good. Your half-brother was mad with rage and left seeking vengeance. Apparently, he spent several years at the Citadel, using education to compensate for his low birth.
A maester cannot become a lord.
He never became maester, but stopped at the rank of acolyte. He learned the art of war, studied the higher mysteries, and forged links. He was then thrown out of the Citadel several years later for studying the forbidden arts. He's been a sellsword ever since. His reputation spread quickly, and royal ears heard of him. In 2 years, he went from simple soldier to the Queen's Guard. He moves in the shadows. The nobles of the court fear him.
How do you know all of this?
I went with your sister to the Red Keep in King's Landing for her audiences with the Queen. It is there that I learned what I know of him.
Valar. He has taken too much from me already. I cannot just stand by while he marries my sister.
There is something else of which we should speak. I would have liked to spare you this. I do not believe that your father's death was an accident. There are certain indications that lead me to believe that he was poisoned.
Are you sure?
Believe me, Alester, I know this subject. The Strangler is a difficult poison to detect, but it leaves certain traces that cannot be caused by anything else.
And you have no idea who it could have been?
I am not certain, but there are rumors of a possible culprit.
Tell me who it is.
This may overwhelm you, but the rumors say that it is your younger brother, Garwin.
Garwin? He was but a child when I left.
He and Lord Reynold had some serious quarrels, and he disappeared on the very night of your father's death. We've had no news of him since.
Why? Why would he have done such a thing?
Maester Harwin, the people are rebelling. Rioting has broken out throughout the town.
With all of this festering discontent, it was only a matter of time before this happened.
Tell me, does the Riverspring Guard have the situation under control?
For now, they are securing the entrances to the castle. Barricades protect us from a direct attack. But the streets are inaccessible to us. We have too few men. The guard is overwhelmed.
Who is behind this revolt?
I think I know who leads them. I crossed paths with a certain Tyrek when arriving, a rabble-rouser, telling the people to take up arms.
Tyrek? I heard some guards say that he was getting people worked up in the marketplace.
How did things get this far out of hand?
Well, the lords left the castle after the burial, with their fine clothes and all. Whereas the villagers are starving, all of this flaunted wealth must have pushed them too far. Everything erupted. The villagers began to attack the lords, taking them hostage.
You said that the revolt is being led from the main square. We must go there immediately.
Captain Ryman says that it's impossible. Our men are barely managing to keep them at bay at the castle doors. There are not enough of us to attempt an escape.
Where is Captain Ryman?
He is at the doors. He's the one that ordered the barricades.
7 hells! If Ryman deals with it, the revolt will end in flames and bloodshed.
Riverspring has already suffered too much. I must join Ryman. Riverspring needs me. I will not watch our land fall into ruins without acting.
Very well, but I beg you to be careful. You are a Sarwyck. Act as a liege, Lord Alester, and know that your acts will have consequences.
I will do what must be done.
I am sure you will.
Bueno, chavales, pues voy a cortar aquí. Espero que os haya gustado el vídeo. Like, favorito, suscribíos y hasta la próxima. Adiós.